What's going on, everyone? It's going to be another typical day in ELA class. We're going to read a little bit. There's actually going to be a video that we'll watch because that's always better than listening to me talk, right? Learn a little bit through a video. They do a really good job. Infographic show again, but they're going to go into the science. So Mr. Lutic might be impressed here that we're going to go in because I'm not a science teacher, but infographics, they did their research, they know their stuff. I'm going to talk about how the volcano like preserved people for so long, like why we know so much about the life and everyday life in Pompeii, like how slaves even lived and stuff like that. So we'll get to that. But what I would like to do is start reading the article. And again, probably most people know about the eruption and stuff. What I wanted to do was find a little bit of a different take and find out like why this city may like get ruined again. And it'll be with people. We are our own worst enemies sometimes, right? We are the reason we can't have nice things. But it's just natural for people to want to visit a place like this with all that history. Right now, I'm doing some research. What I would like to do is teach an English lesson at all of the 7 wonders of the world. And I've given myself a decade. So Pompeii is not one of those, but I mean, who wouldn't love to go see Pompeii? Like in February, I think I mentioned I'm going to Brazil, where Christ the Redeemer is. And so I've been researching Jordan, the country of Jordan and Petra. Seems pretty cool. China scares me though. Great Wall of China. It's not easy to get around, especially not knowing the language. So I'd like to learn a little bit of the language before I go, but Chinese is so hard. It's not like I'm kind of learning Portuguese right now since I have a background in like Italian. I've been studying Italian for like 3 years. It's not that bad, but whoa, Chinese or Arabic, it's gonna be tough. India scares me too, but I don't know if anybody has any comments about the 7 wonders of the world. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know. I think it'll be good. 10 years isn't that bad to visit 7 of them. So, but Pompeii is not one of them. Colosseum in Italy is one of the 7 wonders. So that would be cool. But people just love to visit places. And from what I found researching like the 7 wonders, like they make it pretty easy. Like everything is set up for you that if you take a tour, at least you can get there. That's what I might do in China. Is just like get a guide and then they can take care of everything. But it makes it really easy. There, walking path, there's hotels nearby, and that brings people in. And that makes money. But unfortunately, when you have all these kind of delicate stonework and these mosaics, just in case you don't know what a mosaic is, like be on the lookout for that in the infographic show. It's a piece of artwork made up of like little smaller things. I didn't know how many people knew exactly what a mosaic was, but they had those back in Pompeii. And now, they're being preserved, but just even stones, like walking, you have like thousands of people a day walking over it and not doing anything wrong to it. It is going to put some strain on it. So let's get to this here. It looks beautiful. Lost cities, Pompeii preserved by disaster. So in a way, not for the people living there, but for us today, the volcano was a good thing. It preserved it, but now risks ruin all over again. And this is written at a 7th to 8th grade level. I looked at the high school one. I was like, ooh, we would have had to have done a study guide for that one. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just do this one. There are a couple of words here and there I'll point out, but not too bad. So right there, the Roman city of Pompeii, Italy, 1997, long time ago. The Forum, the Basilica, the facade, whenever you see that facade, I think of like face, and it's like a fake face. Like there's nothing behind it, but just like when you go to I used to always want to go into one of these, but my parents wouldn't let me. But at a fair, you would have like these fun houses where something would be spinning around. Have you ever seen those? And it's just like a facade on the front that says like fun house, and behind it's just like a trailer. So a facade is the front of something, and usually the back is like, it's not as good as it looks on the front, but front facing facade. All right, back to this. Always takes me a little while, sorry. So let's look at the editor's note here. Of all the lost cities in the world, ancient Pompeii is the most found. The volcanic eruption that destroyed the Roman city also froze it in time. But now, 2,000 years later, it is alive with people who threaten its existence all over again. Popular tourist attraction. From the Great Stone Amphitheater, that's a good word to know. Let's just pause there for a second. Amphitheater. Just in case you don't know, I thought that might be more, like when I was coming up with the study guide, I was like, I wonder if people know amphitheater. It's not easy to say. It's fun to say, though. But let me share this with you. I think it's a little bit different than a stadium. So if you look right there, there's quite a few in Maine. If you look at all those little red kind of pins in the map there, those are amphitheaters in Maine. I didn't realize we had so many. So I think of an amphitheater as smaller than a stadium, and it is like built for acoustics. So it's usually got a curve to it in the room. And then you could have an outdoor amphitheater too, but it's made for listening to music. And if I don't think anybody did, but I know Taylor Swift just came, right? Not too long ago, like this past weekend. So I don't know if you've ever been to it. I know I've spoken to people. They've been to a show at a stadium. Like the acoustics are not good. Like it's just not, I'd rather not go to. I've been to a couple at Gillette. Probably won't go again unless it's like a really good band, but it's just, the sound's not good. And there's just so many people there. I'd rather go to a smaller amphitheater, but of course Taylor Swift is too big to play any old amphitheater. All right, making it bigger here. Continuing on. You'll get a good view of the waves of tourists. They move towards the Forum, it's the center of the city, where some take a look at the public baths, which offered pools for bathing and rooms for private meetings. That was a huge thing in this society, is the public baths. It was almost like the internet, I guess. Like people would go there. It was like a restaurant or maybe a pub or something. People would go there, conduct business, chit chat, no internet back then. The 2,000-year-old wall decorations of warriors and couples get the attention of tourists. Yet the visitors are rushed in one entrance and out the other with barely enough time to take pictures. For thousands of years, Pompeii had been a lost city. However, knowing that the giant amphitheater was the site of a rock concert a few nights earlier makes Pompeii a lost city that has become one of the most found. How Pompeii was lost is famous. Almost 2,000 years ago, we've read this yesterday, if you remember. The violent eruption of Mount Vesuvius over 2 days in the year AD 79 buried the city in volcanic lava and ash. What happened to Pompeii has been the subject of novels, poems, stage plays, movies, television programs. The Darkest Night. There's only one written account of the volcano's eruption, which was written by Pliny the Younger. And guess what? He's called the Younger because in a minute we'll find out that there is a Pliny the Elder. He had just finished lunch with his uncle, Admiral Pliny the Elder. One sunny afternoon near the Bay of Naples, to the west, 15 miles away, they saw an immense cloud rising in the shape of an umbrella. The pumice and ash shot up some 20 miles into the sky, then began to collapse, pouring down on surrounding fields and towns. As roofs crashed down, most people made a run for it, with pillows strapped to their heads as protection from the showers of rocks. Waves of burning 600-degree Fahrenheit ash and poison gases brought instant death to the people of Pompeii. The sixth and largest blast from the volcano forced the 17-year-old Pliny and his mother to run. As they ran, they saw the shoreline disappear, and a giant tsunami rushed in. Probably one of the nastiest natural disasters. if you've ever seen, oh, you got to be careful how you say this, but if you've ever seen a video from 2011, Fukushima in Japan, where just like there was I guess an earthquake in the middle of the ocean, I believe, and it caused a tsunami and just killed a lot of people. Yeah, in Indonesia in 2004, was it? I think Christmas Day, 2004. You're talking like hundreds of thousands of people. I think it was close to 200,000 people that died. So tsunamis, you think, oh, it's just a big wave, but the power of the wave just destroys everything in its path. So you think, oh, I'll just outrun it. No, probably not. I mean, at least if you're on the shore. No, that water's coming in so fast. You're toast if it's big enough, unfortunately. Yeah, last night I just do research all the time. I'm, watching videos and stuff, learning stuff. And I did a little bit of a deep dive on two things. One was the earthquake that affected, actually three things. The earthquake that affected San Francisco area in 1989. It was kind of crazy during the World Series. That's recent enough that you can go back and watch, if it interests you, you can go back and watch, news reports of it. And it was just a double-decker bridge just collapsed. I think it killed 46 people. Pretty bad. I think 60-something people died in that quake, and like 40-something were because of that bridge just collapsing, which is awful. Fires were started. The Bay Bridge, which is kind of famous, the second most famous bridge in San Francisco after the Golden Gate Bridge, that had some structural damage at the top. Luckily, I think one person was killed in that. So I did a little research on that. I did a little research on the Columbia disaster of 2003, I think it was, where 7 astronauts lost their lives over the skies of Louisiana and Texas. And it rained down parts of the shuttle. And I think only like 40% of the shuttle has been recovered 20 years later. And unfortunately, with that, it was like everything in the shuttle, even the 7 astronauts, was pretty gruesome. But that rained down. So that when I heard about that volcano and the 600-degree ash falling on people, I'm like, oh. And then the craziest thing I researched last night is called, feel free to do some more research, but it's called the Kentucky meat shower. Sometime in the 1800s, it might have been 1840s, on 6 different occasions, globs of meat rained down on people, chunks of meat. And, it's 1840, so they couldn't really do a lot of research on it, but they thought it was either parts of a human baby, which is pretty gross, or like a goat or something like that. But they don't know, like, why did this happen? And then the best guess, nobody knows exactly, but the best guess was that there was a flock of vultures. I forgot what the name, like a murder of crows. I forgot what the name, let's just call them a bunch. A bunch of vultures were flying by, and vultures, I guess, are known to regurgitate the food that they ate when they're scared or something. So they think that's the possibility. And then there was one other thing I researched too. There's like blue globs. I don't know as much about this one, but there were blue globs that were raining down somewhere in the US. This was modern day, because they thought it might have been from an airplane that was like dislodging its like lavatory, its bathroom or something like that. But a lot of people got sick. So, and it's near an Air Force base. So they didn't know if it was like from kind of like jet fuel, but it was like blue globs that dropped from the sky. So they thought it could have been either that, but people were getting sick. So some people thought, maybe, conspiracy theory, maybe it was the U.S. Navy that was conducting these experiments of like germ warfare, dropping stuff on, because a lot of people got sick. I don't think anybody died, but a lot of people got sick. So got a little bit off there. Not exactly Pompeii, right? Let's finish it. I don't even know, but I thought that was interesting. Maybe you didn't. But meat shower? I would not want to be a part of a meat shower, to be honest. But let's see. I think we're almost done. Oh, talking about tsunamis. Okay, so a lot of natural disasters there. All right, let's just finish this out. In clouds of ash, Yeah. Then clouds of ash turned the day into the blackest night. Meanwhile, Pliny the Elder, driven by his duty as an admiral, sailed off to Pompeii. On shore, he got a closer look, maybe too close. He died trying to save as many people as he could. His body was found 3 days later on the beach. Pliny the Younger wrote that he looked like a man who was just sleeping. All right, so we'll get to the rest of this article tomorrow. It would be a Friday. So we'll do another one of these, like pair it with a video. So you'll hear me read for like 10 or 15 minutes, then watch a video. And then hopefully by the end of Friday, you'll be like, I got a pretty good understanding of what happened in Pompeii almost 2,000 years ago. All right. Hopefully that video is good. I liked it. I think you will too. Adios.